God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. But God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows.
Welcome to the 23rd episode of Your Journey Is Not Over. My name is Tanya Pearson Randolph. This is my own personal journey, and the expressions and opinions are of my own. I own all the rights to my personal journey and to Your Journey Is Not Over, neither to be used, copied, or edited in any way without my consent. When I last left off, I was again feeling abandoned. My boyfriend graduated from high school and within days was gone to live in Florida. I was completely heartbroken. The song by Phil Collins, Against All Odds, is definitely the song that most fit the emotions at that time. He really was the only person that knew me. And I somehow, no matter how tight I was holding on, knew our lives were taking separate paths. But it didn't stop me from trying. And if I'm being honest, I don't know how at that age I thought I was going to make it work long distance. But I gave it one heck of a shot. I wrote him letters every single day, and we had certain times and days he would call. I was still real quiet, so when he called, I had so much to catch him up on. He was one of the few people I would openly talk to. Also, this was the year we moved back to the city. Another new school, new house, new life, and a lot of new experiences to come. I was comfortable where I was in the county school. My friends were wonderful. I was quiet and closed off, but my friends just included me and just knew that was just me. I never felt left out in any way, even though I was the girl who didn't have the name brand clothes and I lived in government housing. Being in the county school, it was more isolating and a lot smaller. So we moved back to the city, a lot of changes. It was like stepping into a brand new life, a new home, beautiful brick home. Now, this is the part that my city friends remember, never knowing the hell I endured before they met me. And I guess they perceived that I had always lived with a mom and a dad and in a nice home. And I had the Beaver Cleaver life. No, not even close. So I have to start a new school. It's middle school, and yes, nervous was an understatement. So I go to my new school, and there on the sidewalk by the front door stood my very first 3 best friends ever. I will never forget them standing there, all smiling with big hugs and lots of love, and each one said, "Welcome home." I will never know how they knew I was coming that day, but it was amazing, and immediately I felt safe with them there. I knew and remembered a lot of the kids from when I had went to the city schools before, but there were also a lot that I didn't know. Several different elementary schools merged into one middle school, so it was hard being the new girl again. A lot more to adjust to. New people, new rules, new school, new schedule, new teachers. Overwhelming completely. And was a completely different environment than what I was used to. The county school, the only way I can put it, and have always compared it to, was I was at a county school where no one smoked cigarettes outside the school, and everyone dressed in all name brand clothes, and everyone played by the rules, 100%. Well, let me tell you, the city school was a complete 360 of that. If you remember that show called Fame in the 1980s, then that's what my new school was like. Exactly like that. Total shock, let me tell you. Well, I start this new school, and by the second day, there's this girl that I don't know at all, but she does not like me. I go to get my lunch, and she has everyone banging their trays on the table, literally everyone, telling me to go back to my county school. I was horrified. And the same day, my second day, she started physically pushing me. I took it. Same thing happened the very next day. I took my lunch in the bathroom, and I ate in there, the same as I did the day before. It was torture. Yes, I was that girl that I was in the bathroom, sitting in a stall, eating my lunch. The third night, my brother called from the army. and I was always the first person he wanted to talk to when he called. Same questions always. What's going on? Has mom been hitting on you? He wanted a complete update on everything. He got to, how's the new school going? I started crying. I could be vulnerable with my brother, and just hearing his voice and knowing he was so far away and couldn't protect me would just break my heart. So I told him I hate it. I wanted to go back to the county school. And then I told him how this girl I didn't even know was having everyone in the lunchroom bang their trays and telling me to go back to my old school, and how I was eating my lunch in the bathroom just to avoid all of that, and how she was physically pushing me down the hall. The past couple of days, my brother lost it. I'm sure he felt helpless to protect me, so he had to give me some tough love. And he said, "Why haven't you defended yourself?" And I told him I didn't want to get in trouble. I was brand new to the school, still quiet and closed off. Sure didn't want to start off a new school being in trouble. Didn't want to fall into that stereotype I had been put into. Not because I was bad, but because I was poor. Not all poor kids are trouble, no matter what the stereotype. My brother immediately asked to speak to my dad, and I remember my dad saying, no, he didn't know anything about it. I hadn't said anything, tried not to complain, didn't want to be in trouble or get my mom started in on me. Heard my dad say, no, she won't be in trouble. She needs to take care of this. Then I was put back on the phone. When I say my brother lost it, he did. He was on a payphone in the middle of the barracks, he later told me, many years later, and is screaming at me, "You won't be in trouble, little girl. I better call tomorrow night and I better hear you take care of this. If not, I'm coming home." He said, "Don't make me come home, Tanya." And guess what? I knew he meant it. He, he was like, "I talked to your dad and you won't be in trouble. Take care of it." OMG. I didn't sleep at all that night. Dreaded school the next day. All I could do was pray she didn't push me so I wouldn't have to fight her. That was the only way out of it with my brother. So the next day, the same thing at lunch. And after fourth hour, like the past 2 days, she pushed me. My fear had turned to total anger at this time. So yes, we did fight. Once split up, we were taken to the office. I'm sure that looked real good. I'd been here a total of 4 whole days, and now I'm getting suspended. So the principal was hardcore guy. He wanted answers, wanted facts. Of course, I had no clue why this girl didn't like me. I didn't even know her. She didn't know me. But let me tell you how good God is and how he worked on these two 13-year-old girls. We did fight, and we both got suspended for three days. We decided that we didn't know each other, and at the office, we actually liked each other. How bizarre, right? It's what I call magical. We, in fact, left the school together and spent the whole 3 days of our suspension together. And when we went back to school, we walked into that school together, arm in arm. And we've been best friends for 41 years now. Amazing to have a friendship that started out like we did and to withstand the test of time, life, kids, deaths, grandkids, and all the highs and lows that life has dealt us. And we did, and we went through all of that together. Still to this day, I tell everyone, if I'm hurt, heartbroken, and I shed tears, within an hour, I will hear from her somehow. If it's a call, a text, somehow she knows. She picks up on me, and again, she has done this for 41 years. I tell her all the time that our story is magical. My funny way of telling our story is she bullied me, didn't even know me, fought me, and her karma is she fell in love with me and got stuck with me for the rest of our lives. So be careful who you bully, because God has a way of turning it around on you. I recently talked to her about me doing this podcast, and of course we laughed, as we always do when we discuss this. I asked her, "Why didn't you like me?" We always joke around about it, and I said, "Was it my purple eyeshadow? Was it my big hair? What was it?" And she said no with a laugh. "I didn't like you because I didn't know you." I have told her for years that we have a story to share with these young teenagers. The people you don't know, that you don't like for no apparent reason, just might be the person who, in fact, becomes your best friend when all of your other so called friends have disappeared, stepped off. I will go even further with this, and I hope people really think about this. Most of the time, when you bully a person, it's out of not knowing them or misjudging them, or by going off of what someone else says or their opinions. It also could be fear or intimidation. Again, can't judge a book by a cover. The facts are in the chapters. Again, this is how God works. He brought us together, one way or another, because He knew we were going to be best friends for the remainder of our lives. She knows who she is, and I love you so very much. And all these years later, I can say, I don't remember my life without you. Thank you for loving me, my sister, through all the highs and the lows of our lives. Well, 2 days later, I got suspended again. I wasn't starting out good at this brand new school. This concludes my podcast for today. But before I sign off, I want to say happy anniversary to my husband. This would have been our 4th wedding anniversary. And I love you and I miss you. Also, I want to ask for and send prayers to everyone affected by Hurricane Milton. God, please be with all that need you today. Please join me Tuesday, and always remember, your journey is not over. God bless.
God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through.